Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the April 26th Smackdown review, again in London. This was a very surprising show because it was very match heavy. There was almost no backstages, there was no little filler segment. Of course, we still got some Raw rebounds. We got 2 of them, I believe. But in general, it was all match orientated, which was a nice surprise compared to what we got last week. What we got this Raw, and compared to what we had last week before that. I was quite surprised. So I'm going to get rid of something I was really upset about. First, we got William Regal versus Wade Barrett. Now, JBL said something that just made me even more angrier. Because Wade Barrett was not on Raw, he was on Smackdown. Why? Why couldn't you have your Intercontinental Champion on your A show the first time in London? In other words, not like the first time I've ever been in London, but you know what I mean. Why wasn't he on the show, the first show of their tour? Why not? Why does it have to be on the B show? Worse, William Regal. I'm not a huge Regal fan. I do believe he was a good wrestler, and I still believe he's a good wrestler. He mainly understands do commentary on NXT. Understandable, he doesn't wrestle much anymore. But you know what? What JBL said about Wade being inspired by William Regal, you could have actually done something for this. That could be a feud. As much as Regal doesn't really be relevant anymore, why not have him do a match and a program with a William Regal? That might not be a bad thing. Why not have Wade, who's considered, well, you know, he idolizes him, as JBL was pretty much saying. You could have done something with that. That wasn't done. Regal jobs again. He jobbed to Fandango on Raw. Then he jobs to a... Why couldn't you have it roles reverse? You couldn't have a William Regal with a Wade Barrett on Raw and then a Fandango and a William Regal on SmackDown. Why couldn't you switch it to WWE? I was about to say TNA. I'm sorry. Why couldn't WWE do that? And I'm wondering, you know what a good match would be that I would like to see? We now have Antonio Vazzato, who has no belt. We have a William Regal who just faced a Wade Barrett who has a belt. You got 2 guys that might actually have some good chemistry in an Antonio Vazzato and a Wade Barrett. I would like to see a program between these 2. Why not? This is what I'm hoping for. That I'm sure they're not even going to structure it by Extreme Rules, and I don't want it. After Extreme Rules or just before Extreme Rules, let them tease it. Let's see if the people will get into it. And please, WWE, do not let Antonio Vazzato yodel anymore. What the fuck? Ugh. Why are you making someone that's never done yodeling yodel? For no stupid reason. Let's move on. ADR versus the Trucker. No DQ. I was wondering why the hell they keep letting these guys touch. It's becoming quite repetitious. I'm getting bored of it. But then I realized something. ADR doesn't job much. Not clean anyway. So having this DQ is what the Trucker really needed. He won against Dolph on Raw. Now he won against ADR on SmackDown. Does that mean he's finally going to get the title by Extreme Rules? That wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm actually wondering if they forgoed him from getting it on WrestleMania to have it on Extreme Rules because of his punishment. I still believe he's being punished for what he did. What he did by smoking weed in his car and getting arrested, he lost that chance at WrestleMania. But Extreme Rules, it's obvious if they do not let him win at Extreme Rules, there was no point in creating the real American character in a Trucker, Jack Swagger. Bringing in Zed was waste. A total waste if they don't let him win by Extreme Rules. So I'm really believing that he needs to win. add Extreme Rules to justify what they've done. Now, if they let him lose and we get a Dolph Ziggler face turn, that would make even more sense for him to look good. Because, well, two things. One, if Dolph still retains, he could turn face, but it'll be very difficult and it'll have to be months ahead of time. He'll have to have something going on with Biggie Langston. That's what I'm feeling. Because AJ will be the catalyst for that. But if he loses to a Jack Swagger and then turns face that way, then it will justify why Jack Swagger's got to get the title in the first place. He's not the point of becoming a champion. Really. There's nothing there with Jack. But I have to say the match between Jack and ADR was, again, exactly the same what happened in WrestleMania 29 and what happened on Raw. Jack will sell his injury. ADR will not sell it to Jack. If anyone noticed the match, ADR barely acted like his knee was hurting. He'll do that with a Dolph Ziggler, but he will not do that with a Jack Swagger. He refuses to do it. Jack will sell his arm injury, but ADR refuses to. I don't see that's fair. I'm not a Jack Swagger fan. But if you're trying to promote someone that has to make it look good for a Dolph Ziggler to retain, which I really think he shouldn't, so he wants to turn face, or Jack Swagger to lose so he'll be more credible, it's got to be something interesting. You need it. He's got to be a threat. So the next match, Layla versus Oksana. Oksana is a gorgeous looking woman. Lithuanian powerhouse. Layla was a gorgeous woman. A Moroccan bombshell. And in the beginning of the match, the crowd was into Layla. Near the middle of the match, the crowd was dead. At the end of the match, Layla was cheered. I don't think that was canned heat. The people did like her. But it was obvious that something was missing in the middle of the match. There was something missing. I don't know what it is. The match itself was not bad. Oksana was more physical than she usually is, which is fine. Layla wasn't that physical, which is alright. But you know what? There was something missing in the middle of this match. And it's obvious that they need to figure out what's going on. If they want Layla to go up against... forget it. I do not see AJ and Layla going against each other. Or the two that should have had the match, what was Layla and Caitlyn, they should have already had that match. And then AJ goes next. But they got it slated and removed, and then AJ took her place. I don't know what happened with Layla. I still love Layla. Layla L is the most gorgeous woman I know. The Sleg Daddy got her first. No problem. I love my Naomi, but if there was no Sleg Daddy and there was no Naomi, if they were gone from my life, both of them, I would walk up to a Layla and touch her hand and say, my darling, talking like this, my darling, I bow before you as my Moroccan queen. Please, please bestow upon me the grace of your beauty, the fragrance of your love, and the spread of your legs. Sorry, I had to do it, I'm sorry. But you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. Layla is wonderful, beautiful, and has ability. But I still don't understand why they cut the match that should have been on WrestleMania 29 or the next day, which was Raw. Caitlyn and Layla. I don't get it. Anyway, let's move on. Fandango. Yeah. Fandango versus Justin Gabriel. Justin had no music. Fandango had music in the beginning. They went to commercial. Fandango still has music going. The people going da 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 da. I love it. I'm glad Fandango's still getting over. I'm glad Fandango's music is still getting over. There's only one problem I see with Fandango right now. It wasn't the match. It wasn't how the match went. It wasn't how he won the match afterward. It wasn't when he walked up the ramp to go in the back. It was his partner. I understand this girl is from NXT. She's a good-looking blonde. She can do a nice split. But I have to admit this. As much as I do like her, she's a good-looking woman. I haven't seen her work. There's only one problem. She's not like the girl that was there before. You can see that this one just doesn't have the same fire in dancing. One of the things that I felt that Fandango got over on was that the woman that he originally had, maybe she couldn't leave the country. Maybe they fired her because she did something stupid. I don't know. But I felt that she was a better match for Fandango than this girl is. Don't get me wrong, this woman got some nice long legs, a beautiful slender body. She can do a good split like the other one, but I felt the other one was a better dancer. And if you're going to get Fandango over before he goes to the match and after he goes to the match and goes to the back with a dancer, you need a dancer. So I feel that this is not a proper match. I feel she's not right for him. As much as I think she's a gorgeous looking woman with some gorgeous ass hair and a nice slender body, she's not as good as the original. The original was better. Now the match itself was good. Seeing the Big Dipper performed on a Justin Gabriel, cool. Kind of reminded me of Damien Sandow. But it was still a nice Big Dipper. Then having the flamingo leg drop, as I call it, like the Big Dipper that he did. And I believe they're calling the Fandangoing or something. I don't know what the name of it is. He won the match there. I'm fine with it. It's alright. It's alright. And I want to say that unfortunately, I'm still trying to learn how not to talk too long on these videos. So I did forget about the part of Chris dancing with that very dancer on Raw. It was a very nice touch that week. I didn't expect him to dance with that girl and she doing a little twirl with him. She wasn't bad there, but I still believe she's not very good for Fandango now. Now, getting these two matches over with. Because only thing that mattered is that it went for the storyline and we got what we needed. A Sheamus and Big Show and a Mark Henry and a Randy Orton. Heels win over all. I may use that in my title. Seeing Sheamus lose to the Big Show, I thought, well, at first I thought, I don't want to see this match again. I understand it's needed because they're matching each other. I'm not in the mood for these two. The match sucked because I've seen it so many times before. Mark Henry comes in, distracts. Sheamus got the shit knocked out of him, and the Big Show wins. Okay. I thought, finally let a heel win. But when it came to, I was surprised. When it came to Mark Henry and Randy Orton, I knew Randy Orton was going to win. I did not expect a Sheamus to come out and fuck up things for Randy Orton. Heels win over all. I'm glad, even though Mark Henry had the job there, he did twice. First to the Sheamus, then to the Randy Orton. I was not happy he jobbed so fucking much. I would have been glad if Sheamus just came in and tried to clothesline him or something, but then he doesn't get a full advantage. Now it looks like Sheamus is getting over on Mark Henry too much. You need Mark Henry to stay a dominant, powerful heel. If they let Sheamus do too much, I'm not going to be invested in this feud, and I want it. So seeing both of these guys go was good. I'm glad the heels won. I'm not fond of Mark Henry jobbing so much. Like I said to a wonderful Smokey, my boy, he's going to win. We're going to see a Mark Henry championship run throughout 2013, baby. But you get what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. Now the final thing of the night, which brought the show up big time for me. Taker versus Dean Ambrose. It was good to see Taker wrestle. I was upset about what happened in Raw. I would have liked to see this on a pay-per-view. Now, I do agree with the Off the Rope show. It's a good possibility that one of the two of the Shield is going after the Tag Team Championship belts. It's a wise thing to do. So seeing Dean Ambrose go up against a Taker was fine. But I have to say one thing about Taker. I don't feel like Taker is the dead man anymore. I'm going to be honest here. I still love Undertaker. But the character he's giving off is that of badass Undertaker. He just isn't the same as the dead man he was. or the classic Undertaker. He feels like the American badass. The only thing that's missing is the bandana like I'm wearing and the bike riding down the hill of that ramp and his old music playing. That's how I feel. Him getting dressed up in the dead man outfit with the hood isn't enough. It just doesn't feel like it. In the end, most of his movements are like Dead Man, not like Dead Man Undertaker, but the American badass. It just feels like it. He doesn't rise the way he used to. He rises like the American badass. Dean Ambrose surprisingly loses. Actually, he had to lose. He lost to Hell's Gate. But he did give up a good showing. And then seeing the Undertaker job to all three members of the Shield. He doesn't always job like that. He did. Very nice. I was going, no, they're not going to put him through the table. And when they did, I was shocked. So this wasn't a bad show. But I have to give it a rating that I'm sure not many people are going to agree with. Even though what was done with Sheamus and Randy Orton, where they had to lose so the heels would win, so they go into Extreme Rules, is alright. Seeing Fandango squash someone else and still getting over is fine. The Trucker winning over ADR cleanly, even though he had to use the cane to whack him in the face, was understandable. All the things that needed to be done for this show was done, but it's a C+ to me. It wasn't exciting, particularly seeing Wade Barrett there, where it could have been a Fandango in his place. You could have Wade Barrett with William Regal on Raw and a Fandango with William Regal on SmackDown. And better yet, why not throw a Antonio Rosado at a Wade Barrett now? This coming into Raw, I want to see one of those guys work together. I really would like to see that. I think they could have a good program. But I have to give this a C+ rating. I have to give it a C+. It just wasn't very exciting. It was storyline orientated. It was set to make sure the storylines were done properly. And I am very thankful for that. But it just wasn't exciting. Great amount of matches. Things were done great. But I can't give it more than a C+. So I hope you enjoyed this Zane's View. I hope you enjoyed this Smackdown. Subscribe and comment to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. I have some stuff on my mind, so I'm trying to think of what's the next show I'm going to do for my debate of the week. While I'm actually doing this show, I'm still trying to figure out what would be the best thing to do. But you know what? I thank you very much for watching these videos. I thank you so much for even subscribing, and you have a good night.